Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new series here on the YouTube channel. We are going to be doing a series we're going to call First 40 Turns. We're going to try and hit every civilization, and we're going to just run 40 turns with each of them and discuss different strategies and how you can set that civilization up for success right out of the gate. We will discuss tile management. We will discuss exploring and choosing places to expand to. We'll discuss district placement. We'll discuss diplomacy and how to make friends with neighbors if that's your the way you want to play the game. And yeah, we're just going to try and give people an idea of how to make things go. We're just going to guide you guys and give you ideas on how to start locations. We're going to be playing on deity. You don't have to play on deity, but we are going to play on deity, which puts the most pressure on you, of course, because other civilizations start off with 3 cities. There's a lot to handle. But without wasting too much more time, let's get right into it and start to evaluate what's happening. We do have a location here that we are going to be happy with. This is about a 3rd or 4th map we checked out. Let's talk about the positives. City center is going to be a 2-2. Every city you plop down is going to have a minimum of 2 food, so it's going to give us an extra food. And we're also going to see 2 production because it's a plains hill. If it was a grasslands hill or anything else, it would just be a regular 1 production. But in this case, we're going to get a 2-2 production of food, and it's going to be fantastic. You're going to love it. Other good things we like about this, we do have some positives as far as this tile right here is a 2-2 to start, and it'll become a 2-3 when we work it. This will be another 2-2, of course. Our 1-3 is really nice for production. And we do have some growth tiles out here. A 3-2 spice is really, really nice. And we also have a dyes here, which will help because that'll give us some faith. That tile right there can help us get a Pantheon real quick, which is always good to get a Pantheon real early. Other things to consider, too, when you're deciding is things like Eurekas. So we'll get a Eureka for building a pasture. We'll get the Eureka for farming a resource. We don't see a Courier right now, so we won't necessarily possibly get that one. But, you know, we do have a fair amount of hills, so production shouldn't be a problem. One thing I would say is that there's not a lot of growth around. We do have the 1-3-2 tile there, a couple food tiles there. And then there's some grasslands down here that will help. But we do have a nice, perfect little area. We could probably squeeze a farming triangle in there. That'll be good for growth. Even, you know, maybe a 4x. So there's lots of options there. So no doubt we would settle in place here and get our 2-2 city center. And right away, we'll work the 2-2 tile. Now, discussing build orders. A lot of people go scout first. I don't mind that idea. You want to go scout? Go scout. I like to work warrior. I almost always go warrior first. Sometimes if I have a really fast growing city, if I'm working a 3 or 4 food tile, or if I settle on a 3 food, like I say I settled on a cattle or something like that. If I'm going to have growth in 5, I will often go with a scout simply because you want to go settler second, and you can slide right into the settler as soon as you get to pop 2. But we are going to go warrior first. You can see that's going to line up very nicely, and we're going to be really, really happy about that. Yeah, perfect. We'll talk more about tile management as our borders expand and we have the goal to buy more tiles. Now, as far as analyzing, like we can see here, we do have the tundra to the north, so we are going to be cut off a little bit there. We do have a little bit of water to the left, so this isn't a perfect location, but playing on deity, it's kind of nice to know that you've kind of got an area of the map where you're going to be mostly safe. So we're going to just start by moving in this direction. We can go really anywhere. I like the idea of crossing the river. There's some flat land down here, and we might be able to get some quick movement and work down this river and see what's to our south. Because our second city pretty much is definitely going to either go on this river or that river. Right? So real quickly, we'll cross over and get on the other side of the river. And away we go. Research. You always want to tailor your research early on to what you're going to have options for. Because there's not a need for a quarry, for instance, Animal husbandry is a good idea. Typically, you're going to have a lot of these anyway before it comes time to have a builder going. But yeah, pasture, of course. You'll be able to mine. We are going to need irrigation to do either of these, but we'll worry about that shortly. Good news is we do have a resource to farm. Yeah, and then we've got this here. Okay. Next turn. I'm going to continue to move down the river and see what we've got. Right out of the gate, beautiful. First meet. It looks like we will have room for a city in here before we run into their land, so that's good. First meet on Toronto is going to be solid. Toronto, their benefit is reflect industrial zones and entertainment complexes districts reach 3 tiles further. Not a great bonus, but just having the extra production in the capital for wonders, buildings, districts, that's a real nice boost. When it comes time to build our monument and our districts right out of the gate, our capital is going to build them really nice. Time to build a wonder, same thing. That's fantastic. You can't go wrong there. Next turn. Now, some people might say, why scout, why build, or whatever. Why are you choosing what you choose when you decide on where you want to go with your first build? Getting the first meets on city states, extremely important. Finding goodie huts, also very important. You can't underestimate how that is. Now, you're not guaranteed to get them, but it increases your chances. Some people I know, especially in there's people who have multiplayer strategies in that, a lot of times they'll go scout, or even with 3 scouts, and try and get every last advantage they can over their competition. So we have the river continuing down here, a lot of flat land, which we are not big fans of necessarily. We do have some trees out here and a couple hills here and there, so it's not too bad, but not fantastic. We have another resource there. Keep in mind, America does not have a lot of early bonuses to their civilization. One thing they do have is that +5 strength on their own continent. So having a big continent that, if you run into anybody, you're going to have that +5 strength. That's very nice. Helps against barbarians even. It's fantastic. Another thing I noticed here is we do have a river. So that river is kind of coming in here. We may or may not have room for a city on the coast over here as well. So that'd be something to take a look at as well. Again, we are at turn 4, and we're just going to keep on moving. There's not a lot to learn about in the first few turns. Hey, Joanna. How are you? We'll just keep moving. I think I'm going to continue to move down this river just a couple more turns to see what we have. That's another really nice tile. Hey, Non-Chris. Thank you very much for that. Slowly. So next thing to keep in mind is when do you turn around and start searching somewhere else? Because I could follow down this river and be 50 miles away from my capital, and you're not going to learn a lot. Maybe you should go this way. Maybe I should go that way. I think once I've gotten 5 or 6 turns away from my capital, I like to try and double back, especially with my warriors and stuff. I don't want to take them too far away from home. And you're really looking for the best place to push your next 2 or 3 cities. And if you're traveling miles and miles and miles away from your capital, you're not learning information about where to put your next cities. So I would say this is about as far as I want to go, and I'm probably going to double back this way and allow this warrior to start moving down this river and learn what's going on here. And before long, I'm going to want to learn that as well. We like that dies tile right there. So potentially getting a city on this river and then being able to get out to that tile before Toronto expands would be fantastic. Non-Chris, thank you very much, buddy. I'll take a look at it. I saw those pop up, but I'm just right in the middle of something real quick. But I will look at it. Thank you very much. Okay, I am going to move up this way. And here's our first meet. So, diplomacy. I am Poundmaker, and I represent the Cree. It is an honor to meet you. And exchanging information on our capitals is not a good idea. Because when you, on deity in particular, if you meet a deity civilization and they got nothing else to do with their units, they will come find you. and if they know where you live, no bueno. So always a good idea to just say, you know what? It's not going to hurt you. Just say, sorry, but we can't give away our location at the time. It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. All right? That gives us the boost to writing. Fantastic. Now, let's take a quick look at the Cree. The first thing you want to do on turn 1, as soon as you meet them, is send them a delegation. They will always take a delegation, whether it's the Cree or anybody else. They will take a delegation immediately. But if you let them go one extra turn, then 9 times out of 10 they won't, because they will have a frowny face for one reason or another. If you take a look at this here, they've already got a -5. I can assure you that's their first impression of you. The first impression is always negative, and it's never great. But if we send a delegation, they will accept it. And now we've got a +3 for having sent the delegation. Plus, it gives us diplomatic visibility, which allows us to see the reasons why they are happy or sad. -5 first impression. Because we haven't researched it yet, we can't get an open deals with them. But eventually, we can make an open borders deal with them, which will also give us a positive. As long as you don't let them get super negative or go against one of their agendas, then you can usually keep them in an okay position where eventually you can make friends with them. Making friends is better than not. So that's always great. So send that delegation, and it sets you in this position. As soon as you get the ability to do open borders, we're going to do open borders. All right. So there is our first meet. My guess is coming from there after 6 turns, they're probably somewhere in here. If you do take a quick look at the settler lens, you can sometimes take a quick look and see if they've got pressure. You can see their loyalty pressure at times if you're playing with Rise and Fall, of course. Looking at the settler lens is always a good idea early. I probably haven't done it enough because I've been talking about other things. But looking at the settler lens is always good. It teaches you what's around you, lets you know if there's people coming on the horizon, people in the way, and things like that. Yeah, okay, so let's keep on moving. We're going to try and keep these videos under an hour for those first 40 turns, so we don't want to waste too much time. I just want to get through the basic concepts of what we want to get done. We're 2 turns from our warrior. We are going to try and move up here. I want to try and work my way around here, see if there's anything over here, and then see if I can get to that river. I sure did, Non-Chris, yeah. I enjoyed that game a lot. Now it's time to move out to the right here. We're going to hit this river up and see. Obviously, like I said, we're kind of limited to our expansion. We're hoping that maybe there's a little bit of room here. Certainly south along this river is mostly flat ground, but it's other cities to build. There are some nice tiles in here, so a city in and along this area is not going to be too bad because there's some nice tiles here. And then, of course, we're going to move along here on this river. Now, keep in mind, we do out of the gate, we know we have at least 2 good luxuries on our continent. All right, the luxuries are divided up into continents, and we know we have spices on our continent. Spices are very strong, so it's always good to play on a run with when you have spices. Dyes also, you can get good 2/2 tiles with that extra faith is nice. Any tile that gives you culture as well, like this is a great tile down here. Any luxury that gives you a bonus culture is fantastic for helping you work through the culture tree early on. Okay, some more flat land out here. We're going to see what's going on. Take a look quickly. Can't really tell anything yet because we're too close to that city. Now, we've just turned to Pop 2. Our warriors come out, and we are going to go straight to a settler. Other thing to consider is making sure we're using the right tiles. In this case, growth is a problem because we are not... we only have the 1 food, 3 production, which is fine. It's going to help the settler grow fast. But we are looking forward to working a tile with more food. Now, it looks like it's going to expand to this instead of this. I would probably prefer that, but we'll buy that when we've got the gold. The more food and production you work early, the better. Always prioritize food and production early as best you can. Not to say that you avoid the faith or the culture, because those both help very much as well. But city growth and city production early is the most important thing in the game. Fast start, particularly playing against deity, is essential. So there's that tile there. You can see right away It has switched to that automatically because it does have the five productivity versus the 4, so it typically chooses that over everything else. That will start giving us faith, earning us towards the Pantheon, which is nice. And yeah, there we go. Let's keep moving. In this case, I think I want to stay to the south of the river because it looks like there's probably a good chance that there is going to be some tundra here. I think I'm just going to move onto the spice and see some very disappointing situations. It looks like we're running into more lake. That is not fantastic. We are going to be able to... We can still settle here. It'll be a 2-2 city center. We could even swap out the spice tile to help it grow if that needs to be the case. But that is not good. We've run into a tight spot. But that's what adaptation is all about, right? Figuring out what else we can get done. Hopefully it's going to not be too tight of a squeeze here, and we're going to find some better land to work with. Let's keep moving in this direction. There's some more spice. I think I want to go figure out what's going on up here, because with learning this, it tells me that this becomes more important, and what's out here is more important, because we don't have as much room out here to expand as we were hoping. So we're going to have to see what kind of land we've got. Alright, so let's step to there and to here. Now it's not too bad. It is opening up, although we don't have a lot of great tiles. We have a couple hills here. The biggest concern about a city here is going to be a lack of good tiles to work. Whenever you're choosing where to build a city, having good tiles to work immediately is always important. One thing, like I said, we will be able to do is when we do settle that city, we can always snag that 3-2 tile from the capital for a little while to help it grow and produce and get its legs going until you are able to work a farming triangle, maybe build a couple mines and get other parts of the city working. For now, that's definitely not going to be city number 2. You want your second city that you move to have really, really strong tiles. You want your second city to be very productive. Absolutely. Absolutely important. Continue to look at your settler lens, see what information you can learn. We can see here that we do have some loyalty pressure down here. That's probably the Cree. That's not great news, but we do have room probably for 2 cities if we squeeze them in. So it's not too bad. It could have been a lot closer, so it's not too bad. Finding territory is essential. And the good news is as well is that we're still on our home continent. And that's very good for the Americans because of the minimal amount of benefits that they do have as a civilization. One of the big ones they have is their +5 on home continent strength. We could find a lake, and we just found Russia. Russia is not a fun civilization to play against, let me tell you. It is an honor to meet you, and in this case, they want to tell us we're there. That's absolutely fine. Wow.
I am fond of pigs.
That's why we found them.
Dogs look up
because they just settled a city right beside us. And as you can see, they are tile hogs. Not a lot of fun to play with. Wow. Okay. This is possibly where you're going to have to learn your first lesson about playing on deity. And that is when to pull the plug. We may or may not have to pull the plug. We'll have to see. We're running into some desert over here. We'll have to see if that's Petra possibilities. One thing we can definitely tell from this start is that we are squeezed. Heavily squeezed. Maybe we get a city here. Maybe we get 2 cities here and a city there. That's 5 cities. None of them so far look very strong. Unless we have a bunch of room here to help us out, unless we have room for 3 or 4 cities out here to expand to, it's going to be a lot of trouble. Other than if you chose to go military. Yeah. So, again, send your delegation. Your trade delegation arrived, and I'm always happy to receive visitors from abroad, especially when they bring guests. So there we go. We've got our delegation out. First impressions, never good. I'm not sure if it's more poor on deity or not. I'm not 100% sure. But we make friends with them. Again, we cannot do open borders yet. We can take a quick look at what they've got. They've got 3 cities now. They've also grabbed some furs already. Lucky them. Really tight squeeze. We're going to want to make friends with them. We are going to have to build a city right over here. So we'll see what happens. On to turn 12. We got population still moving in the right direction. We're going to pop our settler before we finish this. Moving up along here. We do not have very attractive tiles. We could settle this tundra tile here. As you take a quick look at the settler lens, we could settle either one of these tiles. Probably would actually want to settle this one because it gets us closer to this 1-3 tile, as well as some of these tiles out here. Maybe we could scoop up some of these. Might be good to spend some money and buy some of these hill tiles for this city. And it also, you do get a 2-2 tile right out of the gate. Growth will be an issue, but it's not an unacceptable city. If you're forced to play this map, not an unacceptable place to put a city. Continuing to move along, we have found our first barbarian. Good news about this is one of the very good news about building a warrior set as your first build. If this was a scout, we would have found this barbarian hut and would have had to run away. In this case, we are going to be able to destroy this barbarian hut, get a barbarian kill or two, clear a barbarian hut potentially, get some free gold real quick, and yeah, really good. The bad news about this is that we found out that we do not have a lot of room out here. Does not look good. So we've also found a goodie hut as well, right in behind it, so that's fantastic. And we did get a first meet on Babylon. Babylon is really, really fun. If you're going for either case, science or culture, if you're going for culture, you're going to have lots of great works. You're going to get science boosts, and you need science to help with your culture, just like you need culture to help with your science. So Babylon is a fantastic city-state to get as a first meet in particular, but to have as a suzerain later in the game. That first meet, again, we got a first meet because we got out with a second military unit, and we're taking a look around. Is very, very nice to have that. Another point, always take a look to see what they want for bonuses, because free envoys is always fantastic. Trigger the Eureka for archery. That means we need to kill the slinger. That won't be easy, but we'll see what happens. And send a trade route to Toronto. A decision we can make later, possibly. Taking a quick look at chat. Of course, we are live. Twitch.tv/Normulator. Always. Come hang out with us. I'm just going to take a quick look at chat here. See what's going on. Appears to be some random... Yeah, there's definitely a randomness to it, but difficulty makes it lower and lower, absolutely. Yeah. On Settler, you get positive first meets. On D&D, you get negative first meets. It's another way to make the game more difficult on higher difficulty levels, absolutely. Yeah, I've heard people say that before, Kumar. I'm not 100% I believe it, though. I'm not 100% I believe it at all. I've never seen evidence to back that up, but I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it is or is not fake news. I'm just saying I've never seen evidence of such a thing. Next turn. This is where you kind of keep going. Now, in a situation like this, because they didn't hit right there, I'm going to just step on this hill and see what's going on. Because you want to try and line it up so that you kill the barbarian hut and not them. If I hit them right now, it's going to make that spearman really, really low, but probably not dead. They kill him, they get the barb clear hut, then you're upset. So I'm going to leave that and hope to let them hit first. As expected, we're not seeing much up here. We could... What I'll probably do with this is just probably go up and see what situation is with Russia, how good of units they have, and you know, how good of cities they have. Are they going to be strong? Of course, they've just played this city down. They're reaping the faith heavily. They have faith from appeal, I'm guessing, and they have a 3-2 tile right at the gate as well in that city. So it's some tough cities. So we're going to take a look here. These guys are still not hitting. I'm going to go ahead and take a hit. I can't stand here all day. Hope that they don't do the finishing blow. And we'll get the clear. Here, so there's not a lot. There's some extra furs. They are loving the furs right now.
It is not wisdom.
Change policies. So right out of the gate, we can throw on the combat strength. I rarely use this. If you don't have any scouts, definitely don't want to use it. If there's a pantheon you really got your heart set on, God King is good because it gives you that bonus faith. We are getting some faith in our capital there with the with that one tile. But the extra production is also nice. It's a tough call. If you don't have any faith in that on that tile, then I definitely say you go God King every time. Make sure you get that pantheon. This would get you there that much faster. Depends on the pantheon you're looking for. We don't have a lot of things to chop down, so you know, one pantheon I do enjoy a lot is the Goddess of the Harvest. But with a lot of stuff, we don't have a lot of stuff to chop down, so it's not necessarily as strong as it would be otherwise. I think I'm going to go with the production. Make that city that more productive. Push things out as quickly as we can, and then just let the faith from that one tile do its thing. So we're going to grab those policies there, and thankfully these guys did not finish the job, and we'll finish the job just like that. Gives us the military tradition boost for having cleared that hut, and the ear score, which we love. Hopefully this guy's going to move so we can step on top of that beautiful goodie hut. And then of course, because it's early, we can still walk through their borders. We'll walk up around here and see what we can find. And it's time to choose another civic. I try most of the time to go early empire. If you're going to go military and put out a lot of units, it's nice to go get a Gogi, policy card Agogi, to produce your units faster. For expansion purposes, I always try to go early empire. Because that gives you the 50% reduction towards settlers, which is always fantastic. So I try to push that way. Discovering a second continent is always luck, unless, of course, you know, well, again, it's luck if you get it in a goodie hut or whatever, but you may or may not get it. Improving 3 tiles, you try to get a builder soon, and we can get that one out. Getting to pop 6 is also usually not too much trouble. You can see right now there's a lot of turns to get to those because we're not getting any extra culture. Getting that first meat on a culture city-state is outstanding. Absolutely love that. Or even having a tile that gives us an extra culture. Just right now it would give us like 40% more culture. And
as if there would be bricks by...
we would literally be working through the culture tree 40% faster. So he did move. Fantastic. And how much do you love that? The knowledge of archery has advanced considerably. We got the Eureka, and it also turns out to be the boost for Babylon. Yes, a monument. Well, yes, we'll build a monument. I pretty much always go either builder monument or monument builder after the settler, and that will help you get through the civics tree. But early on, before you get your monument done, it's always fantastic. Colvini, mine in the biddies. Thank you very much for that, buddy. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope the commute to New York every day is treating you just splendidly. We'll keep learning more information this direction as we work our way down through here. Again, we are very squeezed, and we're going to have to make a decision on what to do soon. I think we're going to go ahead and get mining. Don't like to wait too long to get bronze working. Hopefully we can get some more barbarian kills. We'll, of course, get a farming the resource once we get a builder, and that will be fantastic. One more turn on the settler. It's fantastic. We are going to grow in 5 turns to that tile. In 5 turns... See, this is the thing, is we've actually had 2 meets, so we've spent some money on delegations. So that's actually made it so that we're just now getting enough money if we wanted to buy that tile. Now you have to decide, is it worth it? And this is the tricky question. The 3-2 tile is nice. If it was like a 4-2 or a 3-3, I would say you're much more likely to do it. But is it worth 50 gold for what will essentially be 5 food? Okay. That's 1 more food than I'm getting from this tile. Right? I'm working this tile and this tile. So if I buy that tile, I'm going to work this instead of that. That's 1 food per turn for 5 turns until that opens up for 50 gold. Since we've already spent 50 gold in delegations, it makes me nervous to do that. If it was an amazing tile, like a really strong tile, and it was going to be more than 5 turns, if it was going to be like, let's say it was a tile that was sitting out here that I wasn't going to get for a long time, it's worth just buying it now. But 5 turns for 5 food for 50 gold is a bit rough. You're glad to be back in the States. Where were you? Oh, you've been in Argentina. Oh, you didn't even say anything. I noticed you weren't around. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, barbarians. So that's very interesting. Barbarians to the north, and that's very dangerous, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So, second city. This is time. You've got your settler, and we got to take the information we have now and decide where are we going with the second city. This is not a great city at all. There's just not good tiles to work. We have to steal the 3-2 from the capital a lot sooner than we would like to. This city is not fantastic either, but there are some decent tiles. You can grab the 1-3 with dies. If you settle right there, you're going to pick up, of course, the deer and some stuff like that. So it's not a bad city. The other option would be to come down this direction. I always try to be like 4 tiles away between cities, sometimes 3, sometimes 5. It kind of depends. It's not a determining factor necessarily, but it always helps. So right here, we're at 4 tiles away. We're not going to want to waste that tile by settling on it. So we go one side or the other of that particular tile. If we go this side, it brings these tiles a lot further away from us. If we go on this side, we bring those tiles in, and then it creates more space between us. And then you have to worry about where you put your next city. So we take a quick look. Let's say we decided we wanted to go to this marsh. That immediately means that we can't put our next city down until one of these -2 tiles down here. Now, when we put that city in, that loyalty will change. But this is where we'll be looking at for our next city. And actually, when you think about it, this probably isn't a bad location for a city. It grabs a 2-2 tile there, a 2-2 tile there, plus faith. There's some space here, a chop maybe to the north. And of course, there's we'll pick up the amber as well. Picking up a new resource in a new city, especially your second city, is always fantastic. Chat's asking me why no settle the cattle. You could settle the cattle. There's a couple cattle here. One pantheon I was thinking about getting when the term comes around, because I'm seeing so many pasture possibilities, is culture from pastures. Always good to keep in mind of all the different pantheons available and what you might want to get. Because we don't have a lot of trees and stuff to chop down, and we're probably not going to get there too fast. Culture from, faith from harvest is probably not going to be something we want to get. But culture from pastures, since we don't have any early culture yet, culture from pastures could be very strong. We've already got 2 up here we could get. There's 1 here we'll be able to get if we do a city over there. We've got another 2 here and another 1 there. There's also 1 out here potentially. And then, of course, we've got a lot of room to expand. So culture from pastures is absolutely something that we want to consider. It's a good point. You could absolutely settle that cattle. It's going to cost you 1 culture. It's not that big of a deal. It keeps things fairly tight. Because there's not really any fresh water out here. The further you get right and down, the more tiles you're going to eat up. Because there's not really a way to consume these tiles right now. A lot of these tiles, unless there's fresh water somewhere hidden in here, a lot of these tiles are going to be tough to get at. Sparty, thank you for the auto host. You're awesome. So that's something to consider there. I like this location. I really like the way this actually sets up. There's other possibilities. There's not a dead set yes or no answer. My biggest reason for settling here is because it brings in more good tiles quickly. If you settle this, you get the 2-2 tile, and then you're further away from other good tiles to work when you're up here. When you're down here, you immediately have lots of good tiles to settle right away and grab. A strategy I might use is if I get a builder quick, I might eat that marsh almost immediately. and get the population to 3 is like almost instantly, and then you're working 3 awesome tiles in your second city almost immediately. It's a fantastic strategy. So I think that's our best shot at a location for a city. We also like this city out here. I like that spot there, and we also eventually like that city there. That gives us 5 cities. Of course, 5's not going to get you anything on deity. So we're going to have to hope that something expands here and we have some room to do this. Otherwise, early war is probably your best bet. So we're going to move directly into this direction. Now, another thing we need to consider right now is this scout right here and the exclamation point on his head. What this is telling you is that the scout has come from the north, he's found your city, and he's heading home to get buddies. As soon as he gets buddies, they're going to spawn and head straight to your city, and it's going to be a lot of trouble. So we have to consider our options for defending that. Both of our warriors are considerably far away. We're looking at 5 or 6 turns for him, and probably more for him, 7 or 8 turns. So what I will probably do is move this guy, continue to score that, and bring this guy back to the city. The also thing is we're not going to catch him. Never going to catch me. Go do something else. Popular meme on the stream. Come check us out. So I would almost always go Monument or Builder here. Almost always go Monument or Builder here. But it does make you wonder, maybe we go Warrior. 2 things that make me think we want to go Warrior. A Warrior would help us go up and take care of that Barb camp a little bit sooner. And also, another warrior would start preparing us for what could potentially be an early war for territory, which is a very good possibility. A, because we're America and we have the +5 combat strength on our territory is going to give us that big advantage. And also because we're probably going to need it if we're going to want to try and get some territory. Because right now we're hurting for territory. So, another warrior right now isn't bad. It does slow you down on the culture because we're not getting the monument. And it does slow you down on city growth if you didn't go granary. It slows you down on builder because you're not getting your tile improvements. Not getting your tile improvements means you're not going to get boost to your culture. There's all kinds of bad things about this decision, but I'm going to choose to go warrior in order to combat this and set ourselves up for war later. This is all about adaptation, folks. If I hadn't met anybody in the area, if I had not met anybody else in the area, or there's somebody like off to the side, we had lots of room, we discovered all kinds of land we'd love to settle with, we're thinking, no problem. Then I would just start doing that SimCity thing. Start building your city up, get your builders, get your buildings, get your districts, build more settlers, start playing that game. Adapting to what you're seeing is always important. People are asking, America. People are asking in chat, or one person's asking in chat, maybe go Slinger. Slingers are not a bad idea. It is it 1 turn faster? No, it's the same number of turns. If it was 1 turn faster, I'd definitely consider it. I always try to make sure I get 3 Slingers fairly early. Usually kind of after Monument and Builder, I try to get 1 or 2 Slingers in. Then maybe Granary and another Slinger, or a Settler or Slinger. Because I always like to get 3 Slingers before I do Archery, so that we can upgrade the Slingers quickly to Archers, have that really strong defense early, and we got it with gold. It's a really good way of turning gold into production, by getting your Slingers early and turning them in. It's not a bad idea. It's the reason why China went Warrior is because the Warrior's going to deal with the Barb camp better, and that's the same number of turns. That being said, and also because we're thinking about war, it'd probably be an offensive war, and warriors are better on an offensive war than archers. Archers are better for defense. Although you're going to want some. I don't disagree with the idea of a slinger, but I think I'm going to go with a warrior. Again, this choice is slowing down other things, adjusting that build order. Not great. Free boost. I actually already have the archery boost. I got it from the Goody Hut. Yeah. That was another good point. If I did not have the archery boost already, Slinger would have probably been the better choice there. Absolutely. Goody Hut. So, this guy again is heading up. Yeah, so, oh crap. We are really getting, it's definitely, so this is immediately, we're turn 18. We are like half hour into our less than an hour, no, 40 minutes, I think, into our time here. I'm hoping to keep them under an hour. Immediately, you have to say to yourself, turn 18, you're either going to war or you're just ending this map. It's as simple as that. So you immediately have to start diverting your process and your thought process to, are we going to pull the plug or do we want to try and go to war? As America, I would say maybe explore the war option, because these guys are on your continent and that's going to give you a big bonus early. As long as you can have the same units as them, you can, and a big enough military, you can win. You can do well. So I am going to say that give it a shot. If I was pretty much anybody else, or maybe if I was Scythia or something like that, but if there's just a random, more passive Civ, I probably would just pull the plug on this. I really would. But we're going to try and get ourselves to 40 turns and see where we're at. No horses in this case is also very painful, because horses are outstanding. They're OP for early war. So unless there's some horses in here, we're going to be going with a slow military push, which is not great. But again, that +5, particularly early in the game, is incredibly powerful. So let's continue to explore, see what's going on here, and see what's going on down here. My thought is that Cree is probably going to have better land than Russia, even though Russia is a more powerful civ overall in the game. The 3-2 comes in a couple turns. We discussed that earlier, Hendu. Whether or not it was worth whether or not it was worth 50 gold to get 5 extra food in 5 turns. 1 extra food per turn. And I chose not to spend the gold, particularly since we'd already spent 50 gold on delegations. How fast do I push to irrigation? Well, irrigation is going to be important. It's going to be our luxuries, and it's going to be extra gold. Absolutely important. And we do have a resource to farm, which is fantastic. My plan was to go build our monument, but we've unfortunately had to sneak a warrior into that scenario in order to come up and fight to the north. So I'm going to go quickly to get that farming resource, and then irrigation will definitely be early on the agenda. Very, very good question. Always good to keep in mind what you need to get your... Always good to keep in mind what you're going to need to get your luxuries, and just even the extra gold, right? That's 2 extra gold in each tile, which is very key.
Is the most complex
okay.
alluvial plain of the planet.
That's fantastic.
And perhaps the least known area of the world.
It's not necessarily an amazing wonder, but if you're going for a science victory in particular, that wonder is fantastic, because if you can get the right great scientist, that right there equals 2,000 science on a standard speed game. Yeah, so Charles Darwin, by the way. The name was escaping me for a second. I'm like, please think of the name. Please think of the name. It's Charles Darwin is the one you want. Okay. Again, do not tell them where you live. Thanks for the introduction. There we go. Mongolia has come up and found us. So he's going to pretty much know where we are anyway, but there's Mongolia. We found all of our neighbors. We are on continents, so that's more than likely the 4 that are on our continent. We could send the delegation. At this point, I'm thinking we're going to go war anyway. We need the money. This is another adaptation thing. Do you spend the money on a delegation if you're going military? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no and take the chances that we can make it work later. Even if it's just avoiding war. But it's we don't have a ton of gold, and we're not making a ton of gold at a great rate. And they're not going to give the delegation back until they're happy with you, and they're not going to be happy with you right away anyway. So it's lost money at this point. Speaking of horses, there's some horses, and there's Buenos Aires. feels bad, man. That's a beautiful little city you got there. Very interesting. That is our third meet, so that is a boost that we really like to get. Let's just keep moving. They're being idiots. Oh, sorry. No, I misread that. That's the one that where you're okay. Yeah, so that's actually one where you satisfied. We haven't gotten city states. We're not competing with city states right now, so they're happy about that. So that gets us a really big positive. Sorry, I misread that one. So that's actually really good. So something to keep in mind, whether this ends up being the game you end up playing or not. Something to keep in mind is keep an eye on the faces. We just made them happy. So if that turns to a smile face, which I think it's going to, as soon as it does, declare friendship. Yeah, but non-Chris, they're definitely the furthest away. And we're already like, yeah, in this case, I just don't think it's worth it. Yes, and it's a good point. So new continent starts here. So we'll have to figure out where that continent is. If it's like kind of straight across here, then that makes Cree less viable, and it's going to be Russia, which is suck because, you know, delegations. But we're just going to keep on rolling with the punches. For this one here, I'm actually going to go see where the iron is. Being able to get to swordsman could be valuable early on. We're going to get some barb kills. Hopefully we get them in time. Irrigation's the other one we want to get as quickly as we can as well. Yeah, so sending the delegation could give you time. If that's why on the first, especially the ones that live close to you, absolutely try to make friends. The other guy, 21 turns, he's probably way to the south. We're not going to be into war with him anytime soon. And it's about money. If I was rolling in the cash, if I had cleared a bunch of huts and had like 200, 300, 400 gold right now, and they were the first person I met, delegation all the way. But sometimes you got to make those decisions. They're not always easy ones on where to go. Like that. I don't know why he stepped out to the side there. I think that idiot warrior got in our way. So our warrior got built. We're going to head to the north and start clearing that out. It is time. I really want to get the builder built, but we got to get some culture. Having built the warrior, the builder's going to have to take a back seat. We need to get our culture going. Monument, I think, is the choice, and that's what we're going to go with. We need to work our way. I know it's like you're thinking, okay, this nice easy movement. Let's go figure out what's going on here. We need to come across this river and see what's going on with this continent, and see if the continent's kind of going like this, and we can still fight Kree on our land. That's great. If not, Russia's going to have to be the one to go. Yeah, buying the monument later is a possibility, and it's something buying stuff is absolutely something I would consider at certain circumstances, but probably not in this one. Simply because we are low on gold. I still don't even have enough gold to upgrade 3 archers. We're just not making a lot of gold right now. It's going to be a while before we get to irrigation and get those done. It's absolutely a possibility, but in this case, I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't do it. Now there's something interesting. That 3-2 spice tile just made our capital a little bit more exciting as well. So we're gonna go up here. We're gonna figure out what's going on. This guy's coming in here. I think he's almost. So here's something to think about. One thought is, hey, why not heal for a bit? He is 4 XP away from a promotion. So the next time he gets in a fight, he's going to get a promotion. So because we do have the home continent boost, he'll be able to withstand a fight against a barbarian, get the promotion, get his health up, and continue the fight. Yeah, you don't want to. There we go. Your delegation is most welcome. That's fantastic. You should get to a smiley face super quick. Yeah, you don't want to wait too long on the monument because you get so far behind, especially on deity. You get so far behind. Some very interesting land up here. Not impossible that you could even put a city up here. In desperate times. Yeah, absolutely. The 3 improved tiles is absolutely like an extra production here, an extra food here, and then eventually an extra gold, couple gold on one of these, plus the luxury. Absolutely important. We're gonna go builder right after the monument, but it's you're gonna have to do both, and I feel like getting that culture as soon as possible because we're getting crushed on culture. We're at turn 23, and we still haven't gotten to 2 culture a turn yet. That is getting crushed by the AI. Crushed. Monument has got to come. It's just too important. If I was thinking maybe I'll get to the gold I need within 2 or 3 turns and then buy it, maybe. I'm 20 turns from being able to buy a monument at this point. So it's absolutely something to consider. Not a bad question at all. It's always. So at this point, you have to really start asking yourself, do you want to play this game? You're. What are you going to do? You just got screwed. I mean, you haven't. It's turn 24. You've built your settler. You went builder. On turn 8, you started a settler. You immediately walked him once he was built to the location you wanted to build, and you can't even build him there. You've got no room to put down a good city. At this point, unfortunately, you really just have to say, that's tough. That's the game. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, I mean, you could... I mean, you look at the size of the military, they're already at 204. They have the biggest military in the game. I could start pumping out units. Maybe I come up and settle the cattle. Try and pump out some units. Go to war. Maybe we try that. I don't know. We just got hosed. There's no other way to look at it. Oh, sorry, wrong one. And right there, this is telling me that these 2 locations are definitely on our continent, but I'm guessing that their capital is definitely not. Which is fine. I mean, we could take these 2 spots, eat this land up yourself. Yeah, falling back to the cows is the only option at this point. If you were like, if you were essentially at this point saying, okay, well, no matter what, we want to play this playthrough and do everything we can to survive. See, now there's an unfortunate incident. We never got to a smiley face because this is the one I thought I saw earlier. It just pleased with our lack of science and culture. It's deity turn 25, and he's like, oh, you haven't built a campus and a theater square, and you don't have massive amounts of science and culture yet? What's wrong with you? And so immediately, again, another reason why Russia is so hard to play against, in addition to them being one of the strongest civs in the game, is that they're very, very difficult to please. And just when we thought we were going to have a little bit of a chance to get a smiley face out of them, it's toast. So they simply won't be friends. We were so close. If they'd have just given us a couple more turns to get that into a smiley face, it would have been fine. And again, just completely host. Here come the warriors. And here's another funny part. 99.999% of the time, I always tell somebody, monument first. Every single time, monument first. But in this case, there's no point. It's time to go to war, right? And at this point, I don't even care if we piss people off. I'm going to settle wherever the hell I want. Like, how ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that? I just settled a city 3 tiles away from my capital. They have to change that. If you settle a city within 4 or 5 tiles of your capital, they should not be able to come back and say, hey, stop forward settling us. He just forward settled the crap out of me. He forward settled the crap out of me, and they're concerned that I built a second city. They really need to change that. They really do. In this instance, I'm going to continue to move up this way and come to here. Take the combat bonus when he attacks me. Get the promotion. Get ourselves into position. So hilarious. So hilarious. So hilarious. So we're at the 55-minute point in the video. And this has gone horribly wrong. And oh, defending only got me 3. I still don't even have the but you can see there all the bonuses we got. We barely went down in health and he's at half health. You just stand there and heal. This guy would just stay there. It's time to just start pumping units, is all it is. If I wasn't making this video right now, I'd have quit long ago. But we were trying to do the first 40 turn evaluation. Things went wrong, and this is where we ended up. So at this point,
Every nation lives by
just fortify and let them bang into you. You're getting combat bonuses. You're going to survive. You're going to get promotions. You'll be fine. We're pumping out slingers. Just evaluating what's down here and what we're looking at. Turn 28. Again, you can see they're just getting crushed in the competition. This guy's been hit twice, and he barely has lost any health. These guys are almost dead. Okay. Now, because this guy's not attacking for some reason, which is weird, because warriors pretty much always attack, even if they know they're going to die. Again, we're pumping out slingers. We're going to get to archery, and we're going to start to destroy people. We're going to continue to just heal. That slinger's going to move into position. We'll counterattack. You don't ever want to step to a slinger so they get first shot, is the reason why I'm not stepping forward there. You may be wondering, why don't you attack? Well, if I attack, I kill that guy, take a little bit of damage, because he's going to take a combat bonus, and then I'm going to get first attacked by the slinger. Now, I will have a promotion and it will work out okay, but always better to just play the odds. Yeah, Kree got all the good land. They have amazing land down here. We got completely hosed, and things are just not working well.
I'm also interested.
So, finally, that warrior did attack. We're going to move to here. And we need to get first attack on this slinger. That. We did get the promotion. He'll hit me. I'll promote. We'll be fine. Hey, Nemo. What's up? 4 turns on archery. We have 1 slinger there, and we're going to get 2 more. That puts us to 3. That's the number I like to get to. Another thing to consider as well is moving, since we are going military. I should have done this a couple turns ago when we made this a choice, to get to a Gogi. That's an adaptation we need to try and consider as well. Boom, boom, boom. And we don't want to move outside of our territory, really, because we want to be able to do the promotion before too long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get us to the archer promotions and to the destruction. You can see the spawn. The units just get spawned like insane. It's absolutely insane. We'll take the combat strength there. And we finish off this archer, or sorry, this slinger. He now has a promotion after we defend against that hit. And we'll just slowly work our way in. Clear out this land here, head back up and get ready for war. The slinger, again, just move him to there. Keep him on our land. Next turn. This guy gets his promotion. What I think I might actually do is step back here. No, actually I'm going to take the promotion. Full health and step to there. Choose production. 2 turns. Returns on a slinger. This is where I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to put 2 turns into irrigation so that I can get 1 more slinger out. we're going to go like that. You are going to just stay there on a fortification. Actually, no, I'm going to go like this. Might be able to get a shot on that guy. 3 turns on the on that. I want to get to 4 slingers. I've made the decision to get to 4 slingers. There we go. Again, the combat bonuses that we take from that +5 against barbarians, it's just we're just overpowering these barbarians like crazy because of the American bonus. Down here, these guys are producing units quite slowly. We did get the 1 slinger out. We are popped to... I would love to buy that 2/2 tile, but I need all the gold to make these archers. So I'm going to go straight to a warrior. And step to here for vision. Again, move there. I'll be able to get a shot on him. And... yeah, the early war is terrible. It's not early war. It's really game over, landmarks. The only reason why I'm still playing is because I'm making a YouTube video, which is about to end. So we're going to attack here, and we're going to attack there. Pantheon time. This is actually an audible time. Culture from Pastures is where we're going to go. If God of the Forge is here, and it's not, I would have taken God of the Forge in order to be able to build units faster. This would be another audible location. It's not available. Funnily enough, Goddess of the Harvest is, than usual. But we will go with Culture from Pastures. We're going to need to make up some time on culture, and that's where we'll get it. We have a ton of pastures, and it's going to be lots of gold. Okay, so we're at turn 35. That's close to 40. You can pretty much tell where this game's going. We've had to make some adaptations. We've been completely crushed. This is a perfect situation where you would probably have just quit if you weren't the Americans. Getting the early combat bonus is nice. You can always build tons of units, go to war, and see what happens. That's where you've been brought to in this particular playthrough. Not great. Not what you like in a start. Most people would have quit by now, absolutely. But this is what we got in our first ever edition of First 40 Turns. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.